guys, it's Corey and Sean here with Northern Timber Outfitters. Today we're going to be doing an introduction build for a wood duck nesting box.
Yep, so this build is a way that you can contribute to conservation for wood ducks, and even helps with hooded mergansers. So this build is a real easy way for you guys to give back to the waterfowl world and help with conservation without contributing with donations and such to
Spending a whole lot of money.
Organizations. So we're going to talk a little bit about why you should build. We obviously kind of just talked about that, but wood ducks are cavity nesters, so they require soft trees that have a cavity in them to nest in. So in some areas that's just not abundant. So this is a way that you can build a nesting area for them and give them a place to have their young.
So we're using cypress wood, just kind of a background on some of the material. We're using cypress wood. Cypress wood is native to a lot of East Coast, especially like southeastern swamps. Down in Louisiana, southern Alabama, Georgia, you get a lot of cypress trees, and it's a soft wood. It allows for, like, say a bigger limb falls off. Inside where that limb falls off, it'll create a cavity, and the wood ducks will go in and use that cavity to lay their eggs and hatch them that year.
Yep.
But a lot of places up here, we obviously in southeastern Pennsylvania, we don't have a whole lot of softwood. Our forests and creeks are more densely populated with hardwood, so it doesn't give them a plethora of area to cavity nest and lay their eggs. So this is where a wood duck box would come in handy in the conservation effort.
Yeah, another reason why you should build this is wood ducks, they're waterfowl, so they like water. The only place that you're really going to find a lot of trees along the water system is either around a lake or on a stream or a river. This you can put on a pond, you can put on a little slough that cuts through a field. You can put these pretty much anywhere. You can put them in, along a wooded creek or a wooded lake or something if you have permission from the landowner or the wildlife agency that is in charge of that area. But a good reason to build this, like we talked, it helps with their young and stuff. It'll help keep them protected from predators. There's a predator guard that you can put on here, which is either a metal cone that goes around the post that it's on, or a PVC pipe that goes around the post down the bottom, and basically it's too slippery for predators to climb up and get into the box.
Yeah, it's the same thing if you have a bird feeder and you create something to keep the squirrels from getting up there. Same thing. The raccoons, possums, they'll climb up the same way that a squirrel would on a bird feeder, and they get in, and if a hen is roosting in there, they'll eat the whole hen, or take all the eggs, or wood ducks aren't the biggest. They're not like geese; they can't really fight to keep their young alive. So, unfortunately, it does happen, and nothing can really 100% effectively prevent that. But this is a good way to at least try. It gets it up in the air a little bit, especially if it's like around a pond with no trees. You can put it up on a decently high stake. They are ducks; they can fly. They can get up there relatively easily.
And wood ducks are perching ducks. So.
Yeah. So.
When you put these up, you can put them along a stream, a lake, a pond. We talked about that. You can put them out in the water. You can hang them on a tree, like we said. Realistically, just as long as they're near the water source, that is what matters.
A lot of times, you'll see them if you live near a major river. A lot of the islands in the river will have wood duck nesting boxes on them because that's a good kind of isolated place for them to go roost, or raccoons and possums and other predators can't get onto those islands very easily. So that's a good safe haven for them to go. And if you have one of these in a hardwood forest, they're going to use it.
So our game commission agency up here in Pennsylvania has lots of game lands, which are state maintained, and they have ponds on them. And these are all over the place on these ponds. So they're a good way to kind of help the wood duck population, which is probably the hardest, if not the actual hardest, to keep a tally on how many ducks there actually are, how many wood ducks there actually are, because they're cavity nesters, and two, because they spend a lot of time perching in the trees and stuff. So this is a good way that, one, you can help the wood duck population, which at one point was pretty endangered because they were getting shot a lot, and
they didn't have enough places to come back home to and reproduce. So they fly south for the winter. They're one of the first birds to leave and head to warmer weather when it starts getting cold out. But when they come back up north, it's nice for them to have a place along the way to raise their kids, raise their chicks.
So a little bit on how to maintain these. You need to maintain these once a year. Once a year, you need to go out and check the structural integrity of the box, make sure it's not rotting and decaying or falling apart. You're going to place cedar shavings in the box when you're finished with it, and you hang it up, so that way they have a bedding to make their nest in. Every year that should be cleaned out. The eggs should be cleaned out, and new cedar shavings should be put in. This is also a good way to make sure there's no snakes or other critters that have made that their home.
Especially during the summer after the nesting season, you'll see other animals, kind of use them. Squirrels will get up in there.
Depending on where they're at. If they're out in the water stores, not so much. But you want to make sure you maintain these every year. And this is a cool way too, where you can actually see, a wood duck raise their young. You can see them have their ducklings and raise them. So this is a great way for you to not only contribute to conservation, but enjoy the hard work that you put into it.
It's very rewarding.
Yeah.
Being able, even if, say you put it up, doesn't get used that year, it's fine. Take the shavings out, put fresh ones in the next roosting season, and maybe that year that it does happen. And when that year does come, it's going to be very rewarding for all that work you put into it. It's not that much work, but it does feel good when it gets used because that you did a good thing.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about the build and what you'll need. So we talked a little bit about the wood. You can use eastern cypress, which is what we use. You can use cedar. Mm-hmm. You can use plywood. The cedar and the eastern cypress will work the best. The eastern cypress does not rot and it's resistant to bugs. The cedar will eventually start to break down, and the plywood you can use, especially if you have a bunch laying around and you want to make a bunch of boxes. It'll work, but they might not last very long, where the cedar and the cypress will. You can get the wood to use from any hardware store or lumber yard. And the only other thing you're going to need other than the wood as far as material goes is you're going to want exterior screws. Exterior screws are coated so that they are resistant to rust and they won't break down and then eventually break and fall apart. Today for our video, we're going to use just interior screws because this is just our demonstration box that we're going to be putting together. This box we're not actually going to be putting out to use. This is just for us to show you guys kind of step by step how to do it, and the purpose of this video is to give you a little background on why you should do it. Mm-hmm. This would be a great thing to show kids or get kids doing. It teaches them conservation and how to give back at a younger age, and it's a cool project. They probably enjoy it. That's stuff younger kids would like. If you're, even if maybe you don't have kids, if you're a shop teacher or something, this would be a cool project to do in the shop at the school.
Mm-hmm. Or a biology teacher.
Yeah. If
you're doing life cycles or anything like that, this is good to, you could do it as a class project. They sell, pre-drilled, pre-cut kits that you can just put together.
Yeah. Obviously,
you can take them out.
Your school's budget and stuff, but it's an option. Mm-hmm. I know there's some scout groups that do it and stuff, and a lot of times different wildlife agencies appreciate it when you donate them. We're currently working with the one state park up here to get some of these donated and hung up in the state park. We saw an abundant amount of wood ducks there last year, so we're hoping to.
They didn't know that there were that many wood ducks in the area, so it was good for them to know because they said, oh, okay, this will help with our conservation count for the year. Right. Keeping track of the animals in that specific state game land.
Yeah, so it's a great way to just even get kids doing something. With the cuts, you're going to have one piece, which will be your back at 29 inches. So this will be your back right here is 29 inches. And then you will cut three pieces at 23.5 inches. One of them is going to be a side. The other one is your other side, but it's also a door. So it's not going to have as many screws holding it into the front and the back just because it needs to be able to be opened. and then you'll have your front. The front also has a 4.5 by 3.5 hole drilled in it so that the hen can enter and exit through the box. And then you have your floor, which is 7 3/4 of an inch, and then you have your roof, which is 14 inches. We're using a 12-foot by 10-inch board. You can use, if you have something that's like 12 feet by 12 inches, that's fine. That's what we actually started with, and then we cut it down so that it's 10 inches wide. But the minimum you can go is 10 inches.
It needs to be big enough to hold the hen and all the ducklings.
Yep. So we made our cuts already, so we got all that done, so we can just show you guys putting it together. What we did is we took all our holes and they're pre-drilled, so that way when you screw into it, it's not going to split the board. If you have a jigsaw, that's very useful for drilling or cutting out the hole. We used a circular saw to cut the pieces across, and then we took a chop saw and we actually made a hashing in the back of the front panel there, which we will show you as we put the box together, so that the young and the hen can climb in and out of the box. They need that in order to climb up it. So I guess let's get into the build. So we're going to start with, we're going to take the back, we're going to take 2 of the sides, and we'll get those put together. So this is our first side right here. Actually, that's the door. This is our first side.
Before we get into this, all of the measurements will be linked in the description below.
Along with the materials.
As long with the materials, yeah.
So we have a line drawn here, which is 3 1/4 inches, 3 3/4 of an inch from the top. So you want a little space on the top, and there'll be some on the bottom, which you can use to attach it to whatever you're hanging it on. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand these 2 boards up. We'll stand up one board like this, and we're going to line up the line that we drew on the back piece here with the top of the one sideboard, so that way we know where we have to attach the board at. So if you just want to hold that cord, you're going to put 4 screws in for the side that isn't the door, so that the piece that's not going to be opening, you only need 4 screws in it from top to bottom. So 1 on each end and then 2 in the middle. Here's our bottom screw right here. This side we're not going to attach at this moment just because this is our door, so we're going to leave this alone for right now. But now that we have this side on, we can flip it over. Now we're going to be putting the floor into the box. So the floor is going to sit inside each side, and then inside the bottom here. And Corey, if you want to hold that, I'll fasten it in. You want to make sure everything butts up real nice so that it kind of seals the box in. There we go. Okay, so now we have our floor in, and then we're going to take this side here, and we're going to attach it on. So we'll flip our box back up like this. And you're going to have probably a little excess hanging off the one side here, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. It's not a piece of furniture, but we do want it to look nice and to hold up. So, Corey, if you just want to move the right arm. Since it's the door, you're going to put a screw in at the top. And then when we get around to the front side, you'll put another one in the top. And then we'll show you how to put the one in on the bottom that is actually going to act as the lock for the door. So we can stand this up now on its back, and we're going to attach our front piece, which is this one right here.
Show them the hole real quick.
Yeah, so there's the hole we made. And then on the back, here's the hashing I was talking about that we used the chop saw for, basically so they can get in there with their claws and climb out.
The hole is about as big as your fist.
Yeah.
You know, you can put your fist through it. These ducks are not the biggest.
All right, so once again, you're gonna put 4 screws in, 2 on the top, and then 2 in the middle. And now we're going to put our second hinge screw in for our door. Okay, and then that will just allow. And then what that does is it allows the door here to open up so you can get inside to clean it out every year. And then we'll put one in the bottom here that acts as a lock so that the door, so the door is locked. And we'll do that now. It doesn't have to be super tight because you're going to take it out every year when you go to clean it out. So now we'll stand our box up, okay? You can get a good look at it, and we just have to attach the roof. So the roof sits on like this. It has a little overhang to kind of protect the hole in the front there from the elements. And we're going to attach it in with 3 screws through the back, and then we're going to put a couple in the top, avoiding screwing into our door. And one more for the back. And then we just got to put a few in the top here. So, yeah, we don't want it to lift up or anything. So, we're going to put 2 in the front here. How's that look, Corey?
Back a little bit. There you go.
Okay, and then we're just going to put 1 over here on the side. And then that will hold your roof on. And that's your box. Like I said, it's not very complicated. It's very sturdy. It's structurally sound. When you go out to clean them out and stuff, you'll want to bring a screwdriver or drill with these, just so you can take that bottom screw out to actually open the door up.
Flip that open, clean the shavings out, clean the duck poop out, get the empty eggshells out. Really just keep it maintained.
Yeah.
You don't want bacteria growing in there. You want to try to keep it as clean as possible. So the next year's birds can come in and reuse it.
Yeah, so this video hopefully will be out in time, but typically you want to have these hung up by the end of March. So you can start hanging them up in late February, like the very end, and then throughout the month of March. You can look up online just to make sure, because nesting areas will vary just a little bit depending on where you live. But you can see here's our top piece for mounting it to a stake or a tree. And then we have one down the bottom too, which is overhanging on the table.
You can also implement some scouting into this. Find what the birds are staying in. If you see a couple wood ducks, build a box and throw it up there.
Right.
If after you get permission, of course. But even if they don't use it, you tried.
Yeah.
It'll
they
get
may not
used
use
at
it
some
the first
point.
year. It may take a year or 2 for them to use it, but it's just about putting it out there and stuff and doing your part and giving back to the waterfowl world that we love to hunt in so much. These are beautiful birds, and they're a lot of fun to hunt. They're very tricky birds to hunt, but
it's our responsibility as hunters to maintain the population, because if there is no population, there are no hunters.
Yeah.
So you gotta give some to take some. So it's important. You'll hear us, harp on conservation a lot because it is something that's very important to us. We try our best to maintain the population in our area. We don't have the biggest population of ducks, but the ducks that we do have, we want them to be healthy. We want them to have a place to live.
We want a good success rate when they hatch.
Yep.
So this is the way we can get back to that. Like Corey said, you're going to hear us talk a lot about conservation. It's a big thing that we're all about, and it's a big thing that we want to be a part of. And to kind of help get that off for Northern Timber Outfitters, the first 5 people to build a wood duck nesting box and then send us a picture of you putting it together and hanging it up, you will receive a free duck call. So send us an email with that, which our email and our social media pages will be in the description. And on top of the duck call, we'll post it on our social media pages and tag you in it. So we hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any comments that you have on how we could have made this better, go ahead and feel free to comment in the bottom or send us a direct message or an email. If there's something you want to see another video on, whether it's conservation, hunting, fishing, you name it, send us a message, leave us a comment, and let us know, and we will get that put together for you, and we'll let you know when it's out. Thanks, guys.